Philadelphia Marcellus Uptown Jazz Orchestra in the house. How y'all feeling, fellas? Come on, funky drummer, what you got for us?
Oh, yes, indeed, y'all. Welcome to New Orleans, y'all. With Uptown Jazz Orchestra, Mardi Gras 2021. We come in virtual reality, baby. Oh, yes, indeed, we gonna make it do what it do. Come on, y'all. Put your hands together. We are so New Orleans. I'm so New Orleans. We like syncopated beats with uptown grooves. When you hear that big bass drum, yeah, you can't help but move. I'm so New Orleans, from the West Bank to the East. No matter where you live, drop that beat, we buck jump in the street. I'm so New Orleans, I be pretty as wild chopper too, this Mardi Gras day. When you hear this uptown funk, yeah, you know we coming to slay. I'm so New Orleans, I've been wearing a mask since way last spring. I wear it with pride the way King Bacchus be wearing his Mardi Gras bling. I'm so New Orleans, I know what Mardi Gras really means. Seen family and friends, black masking Indians, and of course the Zulu King. I'm so New Orleans, I'm really digging all these new decorated house floats. All we need to do is add a little music. Rev, come on, play some of them funky notes. It makes me proud that Louis Armstrong's the Zulu King. That let me know from an early age I can do just about anything. I'm so New Orleans, I remember Hoda Kotb on the Channel 4 morning news, looking like soul food in her colorful dresses in a tan suede shoes. I'm so New Orleans, yeah, the pandemic made us cancel Mardi Gras this year, but we going virtual so you can stand in front of your TV dressed in your Mardi Gras gear. I'm so New Orleans, yeah, we really missed them second lines, buck jump time. We gotta do what we gotta do to try and keep New Orleans music culture alive. What? Replace my fancy clothes. Let me find out you still out in the streets, and let me find out you chasing buck jump beats. We gotta mass up to get it under control, and that's the only way to see another parade roll. Yeah, we miss the Indians and Mardi Gras parades, brass bands, baby dolls celebrating the dead. Uptown, we gonna do what we do, bringing all that New Orleans culture to you. Uptown, downtown, Ninth Ward, Treme. Come on, brother Del, tell me what you gonna say.
Tonight's show is made possible through the generous support of our sponsors.
Dear 2020, you had your time.
I want to break free.
Now it's our time. Time to get away to a place where we can finally be free. Free from boundaries, limitations, even virtual backgrounds. Today, we break free.
I want to break free. Oh, I want to break.
Ready to break free? Plan your future getaway with Norwegian Cruise Line. Sail safe, feel free.
Hello, and welcome back to our third and final night of our first ever virtual Mardi Gras extravaganza. These past 2 nights, we've got to experience the best of Carnival with special features, interviews, and performances. And tonight, we're going to keep that party going with all that and more. So please make yourselves comfortable and get ready for another magnificent night of Mardi Gras for all y'all. Up first, we have another cooking demonstration from the one and only Chef Emeril Lagasse. He'll be showing us how to make a traditional New Orleans specialty that's perfect for this time of the year. Stay tuned.
What we're going to begin with today is a little shrimp remoulade, a classic New Orleans dish. It's all about seasoning. So you want to really get a pot of water, some crab oil, bay leaf, lemon, little salt, little cayenne. You want to just not overcook the shrimp. You just want to submerge that in there, maybe about 2 minutes, and then you want to cool them down. And then what I do is I take a little essence or a little Old Bay and season them like that. I have Bib lettuce, coarse salt and pepper. But let's talk about remoulade, because this is a white remoulade, and also there's a red remoulade or an orangey type of remoulade by adding ketchup into it. Celery, onions, little garlic, chopped pickles, mayonnaise base, lemon juice, really tasty, little hot sauce. Then I also made some very simple deviled eggs, just by boiling the eggs, cooling them, taking the egg yolks, just smashing them with mustard, a little bit of mayonnaise, some Creole spice, nice tomatoes. Make sure they're good, ripe, and then we can begin. We're gonna start by doing a few slices of tomato. We'll take our shrimp, take some of our remoulade. Don't want to get it too mayonnaisey. We'll just toss it now, just to coat the shrimp. Remember, you don't want to take away from that spice of the shrimp either. Just to coat that shrimp real nice like that. And then we're ready. We're going to take our slices of tomato. We're going to season it. Salt. A little bit of ground pepper. A little olive oil. Take our Bib lettuce. Have a nice little Bib lettuce. Take our shrimp remoulade. Our deviled eggs. 1 or 2 pieces. Little Old Bay on these. And there you have it. This is a classic shrimp remoulade, New Orleans style.
I'm trying to think outside the box here.
Chupitulas.
Chupitulas.
Techupulus?
Techupitulas.
Chopitalis?
Chapatulas, named after a North American tribe, and it means along the river. And it's actually a street that runs along the river in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Not New Orleans or Nolans, it's New Orleans.
Oh my goodness.
Terpsichore.
Terpsichore?
Terpsichore.
Terpsichore?
Terpsichore. Terpsichore was one of the muses, one of the daughters of Zeus, a goddess.
Lake Pontchartrain.
Pontchartrain.
Lake Pontchartrain.
Pontchartrain? Lake Pontchartrain.
Lake Pontchartrain. Lake Pontchartrain, a large body of water just north of the city of New Orleans.
Clio. I think it's Clio.
Cleo?
Cleo?
Celio.
Clio. Clio was also one of the daughters of Zeus, a goddess.
Nachitots.
Nachituches.
Nachitoches?
Nachitocus.
Nachitoches.
Jeez.
It's Natchitoches. I know it's very difficult to look at and try to pronounce, but it's a beautiful city in northwest Louisiana, and it's where they filmed Steel Magnolia. So, Natchitoches, please visit sometime.
There's a joy of life you'll find only in Louisiana. A spirit of celebration that takes your senses places they've never been before. Where expressions of joy are an art form and our way of life. Where an abundance of good food, good times, and great music means there's more than enough to go around. Come one, come y'all. Come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm John Goodman, inviting you to visit LouisianaTravel.com and plan your getaway today.
For the last 200 years, residents of the Treme and 7th Ward neighborhoods have been woken up at the crack of dawn on Mardi Gras Day by the Northside Skull and Bones Gang. Donning skeleton costumes with papier-mâché skulls, masks, and face paint, these bone men carry out the community tradition of walking the streets, knocking on people's doors, and reminding them to live a moral life and practice moderation, or they could be next. The Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club, also known as the Crew of Zulu, is the biggest African-American Mardi Gras organization that dates back to the early 20th century. Zulu's annual ride takes place in the early hours of Mardi Gras Day as massive crowds gather along their route in hopes of catching the most coveted throw of them all, their signature hand-painted coconuts. And everyone knows that catching one of these is surely the best way to start your day. Here's more on the history of Zulu.
Satire is a key element of Mardi Gras, and nowhere is that on keener display than in the Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club. Formed in 1909, Zulu's founders chose their costumes to mock the demeaning portrayals of blacks in early 20th century culture and the pretensions of the all-white parading organizations of the time. Each year, members don black makeup, wear grass skirts, and hand out coconuts, following in the example of their brave founders. Now, 112 years later, Zulu is one of New Orleans' most beloved parading organizations.
When do Zulu get together? Well,
got together back in 1909. A group of laborers decided to put a parade on. You know, Mardi Gras was not created for blacks in the city. We weren't a part of the planning at anything. It just wasn't created for us. In the earlier years, we were on foot. And then around 1915-16, the organization began they built their own floats. The history of Zulu is this a group of laborers decided to see a play, and they saw a play about the Smart Set Company, and the name of the play was There Never Was, Never Will Be a King Like Me. In that play, they saw a skit, and it was about an African tribe, a Zulu tribe, and that's when they decided to start an organization, a club, and they named it after the Canadian Zulu. That's where they got the name from. And that's how the whole thing got started. From there, turning what we have today.
What does Mardi Gras mean to me? Mardi Gras to me means what many people know it as. It's the biggest free show on earth that largely represents the culture and traditions of the city of New Orleans.
History of Black Mardi Gras. Well, as a kid, going to the city of New Orleans, I was able to see Mardi Gras in two spectrums. Okay, one that was segregated, but we weren't allowed to go on the thoroughfares of the city. We weren't allowed to go on the St. Charles Avenues or the Canal Street, basically view the parades. The other side of it is when integration came, and then I was able to take part in it. The beautiful thing about it in Black Mardi Gras, our Mardi Gras was in the neighborhoods, the black neighborhoods. The Mardi Gras Indians, the skeletons, the baby dolls. Our Mardi Gras was on Claiborne Avenue under the beautiful oak trees. The standout moment in Zulu's history is when we were allowed to parade on Canal Street. The community they didn't know who Zulu was. They didn't know anything about us. But it was an opportunity for them to see us and then for us to see them. We had never been on Canal Street. We didn't have our parades through the community as we did then. We were allowed to go on St. Charles Avenue. We were allowed to go on Canal Street. And we went through not only just in the black community, but we were in the white community as well as the Central Business District. And that was the biggest highlight of the organization.
Most people don't really realize that we have a Junior Zulu mentoring program where we go out in our communities and help mentor young boys in our community. In the recent years, we have been sponsoring maids for our debutantes that we call Zulu Maids. We provide scholarships last year for all of our Zulu maids to help them further their education. So we also do a strong Toy for Tots program that started right after Hurricane Katrina, where around the holiday times we make sure that we put smiles on the faces of our boys and girls in our community, distributing toys and bicycles to those less fortunate in our community. And also we have food basket giveaway. Our organization has grown in leaps and bounds with respect to making sure we're driving significant synergies in our communities.
Louis Armstrong grew up in the area where the Zulu organization was formed on Perdido Street. He and one of the presidents of the organization were boyhood friends. Louis Armstrong had always seen the Zulus, and he always dreamed to be King Zulu one day. Well, after he got to be famous and he moved from the city in his travels, the organization decided to bestow upon him and ask him to come back home and be King Zulu. In 1949, that's when they offered him to come back home to reign as King Zulu, and he did.
Most of our queens come right from our neighborhood. We had the opportunity to, several years ago, have Rosalie Roche, who was administrator at Southern University in Baton Rouge, represented the organization as Queen Zulu. And so we are proud to say that our kings go out and make sure that we find women who are movers and shakers in our community and allow them to represent this organization as Queen Zulu. In Mardi Gras Day, you will find our parade consisting of 31 floats. 31 float captains are responsible for what I consider the arduous task of making sure that our floats are filled with coconuts and riders. Our iconic floats are those that many people come out on Mardi Gras Day to see. I would like to say the most iconic float is King Zulu, followed by the Big Shot, the Witch Doctor, Province Prince, Ambassador, Governor of Zululand, and Mr. Big Stuff.
The main throw is the coconut, the famous Zulu coconut. That's the most one that I consider the most coveted one of all. The other throws, they didn't come later on. The first official throw was the coconut that we had. Today we have over 100, 200 items that our members purchase through our store that they pass along the parade route. it's one big party now. You know, they enjoy that day and do the parade, catch coconuts, beads, you know, look at the floats of Zulu and the marching groups and the bands that we have. It's just amazing.
The song that Capajali. Capajali! Turn him up!
Well, New Orleans is everybody's paradise. You have great food, you have great music, you have great art, you have great culture. We have great parks, museums. Everybody in your family will have something to do here, and they would love it here, and they would want to come back here. So I think when you talk about the paradise of the world, it's right here in New Orleans. This restaurant is built out of 3 homes, and that means something to us, right? We want you to feel like you're coming into somebody's home, and we're gonna showcase everything we have in our best to experience New Orleans. I think what makes Creole cuisine special is all its influence, right? So you got the African-American influence, the Italian influence, you got the Spanish influence, the traditions and the heart and passions of a lot of different cultures. So when you get that in food and you start to taste that and smell that and sense that coming out, it's one you can't beat, and it's one that can travel across the world because everybody will find something in it that they can relate to, that touches them, that brings them back home. But now what we have here is our world famous fried chicken here at Dookie Chase. Of course you can see it has our marinated seasoning over here. We season all our chicken ahead of time, let it marinate with our special blend. And it's quite simple. You take this, we're gonna dredge it in this here flour. This here is where the magic happens at Dookie Chase. When you talk about fried chicken and one of the best fried chicken we have in the world, this is it right here. It's gonna be a golden brown crisp, full of flavor, not too much heat, but enough. It's just the blend that we have, that seasoning blend. Not too salty, not too spicy, just right. And that crisp, that golden brown crisp that you're gonna get. You're gonna bite into crunch, juicy flavor. It's hard to beat this. I can eat a piece of this chicken every day. That's my energy while I'm running in here in this kitchen. You know, we're very humble about the fame that the restaurant has been recognized for, and I hope we continue to be recognized for it. You know, it's a different new generation coming in, and we definitely have to continue that legacy that my grandparents did. The hospitality that we want to give people is what we want you to feel, right? We want you to fall in love with New Orleans the same way we do. We want you to have the same great experience, the same great flavors of food and music. So anytime a guest comes in, we want you to experience that highest high. Hopefully we'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to be recognized as one of the top.
Mardi Gras represents, to me, the spirit of its people. People often describe New Orleanians as having a really particular love of life. In France, they would call that a joie de vivre. I think nothing embodies that more than the celebration of Mardi Gras.
For me, it is a unique and virtually defining element of New Orleans culture and history. So New Orleans has always been about carnival. Carnival has helped define New Orleans.
Rex was founded in 1872 by civic, philanthropic, and business leaders within the city who really saw Mardi Gras and its current celebration at that time as fairly raucous and unorganized.
Rex's founders thought that if they gave Carnival a new centerpiece, a daytime parade, a King of Carnival, that they might be able to attract more interest in the city and attract visitors to the city. And that's what they did. That evening, they invented the King of Carnival. They ended up with the colors of Carnival, purple, green, and gold, a song, the anthem of Carnival, If Ever I Cease to Love. And immediately they set about to plan a daytime parade with just 2 weeks to go. That parade has become the centerpiece of Carnival, so almost a century and a half later, those traditions still hold. The name Rex comes from the Latin, which means king. So Rex is king, the king of Carnival. Soon newspapers across the country were reporting on the Rex parade and were carrying edicts commanding people to come to New Orleans and visit and celebrate Carnival. And they came.
Rex holds its traditions dear and sacrosanct, so we try not to change too much, but Rex really is an innovator when you think about Mardi Gras in general. In 1960, we introduced the doubloon as a throw, which is now a traditional Mardi Gras-wide throw.
Once people started throwing things from floats, that became kind of an arms race, and Rex led in originating things like crew-specific throws.
So over the years, we have brought to Carnival and its celebrations some significant changes that have now become traditions for not just the Rex organization, but for all of New Orleans Carnival. We have 28 floats. 8 of those are what you refer to as iconic floats and never change. Some of the earliest representations of Carnival in general are depicted in some of these iconic floats. The Boeuf Gras, the Jester's float, the Royal Bandwagon are other iconic floats.
The other 20 floats are theme floats, and they are new every year and designed and then built beautifully artistically to illustrate a theme each year.
Rex has been known as the King of Carnival since he was first introduced to the city in 1872. The mayor would offer the key of the city to the gentleman who was reigning that year as King of Carnival. That tradition continues today. Traditionally, a king of a crew is chosen by the membership or a special committee, and is usually someone who has endeared themselves to and is loved by their membership. He who serves as Rex is really the king of all of Carnival because of their contributions to the city and their love for the city of New Orleans. In 2006, Rex founded the foundation, the Pro Bono Público Foundation, in support of charter schools post-Katrina. That is our major philanthropic focus. That organization has given away over $7 million since its inception and is now giving away $1 million a year to charter schools in the local area. We are extremely proud that every year over 50 or 60 recipients receive grants from that foundation. As the name implies, we're incorporated into the School of Design. Our 2 major areas of focus are art and education. We really look at our floats as rolling works of art through which we can educate students in the city on the various themes and from where those themes came.
Mardi Gras is a special day for all of us in New Orleans. Everyone has their own unique traditions and tributes that honors this extraordinary celebration of life, but for many, their Tuesday morning is more than just a sacred ritual steeped in the history and culture of our city. As the sun rises on Mardi Gras Day, all sorts of people gather in Congo Square, from the Mardi Gras Indians, the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, to neighbors, family, friends, and curious spectators. Folks from all walks of life come together to partake in a truly unforgettable experience. In fact, this event has been described as a spiritual ceremony involving reflection, gratitude, and shared love of music. You see, Congo Square holds significance when it comes to music and cultural traditions in New Orleans. It's been called a holy place and a sacred ground for its integral role in our city's history. What we know as Congo Square today was once a place where both free and enslaved African people came together to sing, dance, and drum on Sunday afternoons. It was a spiritual place and one that brought communities together to share cultural and religious expressions, which involved into Mardi Gras Indian traditions, second lines, brass bands, and New Orleans jazz and rhythm and blues. But for the musicians who dedicate their lives to protecting, preserving, and perpetuating music and culture of the city, it's in our blood. And while many of our traditions may seem a little different this year, on Tuesday morning, communities across New Orleans will safely carry out their own rituals honoring those who gathered in Congo Square and gave us our culture, our music, our heritage, and most importantly, the very heart and soul of Mardi Gras.
fire illuminates the night. First one, then many torches light, bringing a parade into view as masked crew members ride their floats. Another group, just as old and just as storied, walks alongside, bringing light to the carnival night. For more than a century, flambeaus, mostly African American, have walked in New Orleans' largest and oldest parades.
We're gonna go home, we're gonna come out here, we're gonna make this money, enjoy ourselves and have fun. I've been doing this for 17 and a half, almost 18 years. Yeah, generations of my family, mother and father and uncles. Doing it for a long time.
Often overlooked by visitors, these essential members have created a parading culture all their own. In return for tips, they walk, dance, and light the parades.
Flambeau, that's the world's greatest thing in New Orleans. It's an honor to carry a flame. Because guess what? That's just like carrying a flame in the Olympics.
Once a necessity, flambeau culture is now an art form all its own. So, when you next attend a Mardi Gras parade, make sure you bring a few dollars and join the tradition of tipping the keepers of the light.
Your adventure with family and friends begins in Jefferson Parish. Follow winding paths to discover the great outdoors, shop sprawling malls with quaint boutiques, sample savory cuisine, including the Louisiana Oyster Trail. Just click on Stay and Save at visitjeffersonparish.com. We've made health and safety a top priority, so book your stay and learn how your Jefferson Parish hotel key can unlock deals and memories to last forever.
So come take it easy. Just next to the Big Easy.
Up next, we learn about an unusual pink cocktail and how it became a popular Mardi Gras tradition that was just recently saved from extinction. Plus, a special tribute to the man who gave New Orleans the Saints and the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
I'm Rhiannon Enlow, experienced team lead here at the Sazerac House. We're located in downtown New Orleans on the corner of Magazine and Canal Streets. As a home place, we're both a welcome center, our head offices, wonderful exhibit spaces, and a micro distillery. We're also 3 floors of an immersive spirited experience that you can come and see complimentary by going to sazerachouse.com. Today I'm going to demonstrate for you how to make a classic carnival time drink known as the Ohen cocktail. In order to do that, it's very simple. I'm just going to start with a glass, and to that I'm going to add 2 ounces of Ohen. Ohen is an anise liqueur that is originally from Spain, so it's very fragrant, very aromatic. If you like the taste of fennel or licorice or any other anise spirits, you're gonna love Ohen. So 2 ounces of Ohen directly into the glass. And just a touch of sugar. And I'm going to add 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. Bitters are essentially a concentration of flavor. They are made from a proprietary blend of botanicals and herbs that are steeped into alcohol. And this particular brand of bitters has a long history in New Orleans. It was originally created just down the road from where I'm standing in downtown New Orleans at an apothecary by a gentleman of the name Antoine Peychaud. So 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters and a big scoop of ice. Now I'm adding crushed and cracked ice, which is the traditional method of making the Ohen cocktail. I'm also going to help it along with a splash of sparkling water, about 2 ounces. And we're going to give that a nice long stir. So as I'm stirring this up, we're going to see it get nice and frosty. We're going to completely integrate all the ingredients and add just a touch more dilution. The final touch is a long strip of lemon, or really just a lemon twist. You do that by taking one of these swivel peelers and go ahead and pull down on a whole lemon. All of the oils that we are interested in when it comes to making cocktails are trapped in the exterior of that peel. So as you press it, you get a nice spray of that fragrant lemon oil. But I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the garnish, and there you have an Ohen cocktail. As I mentioned, this is a drink very much celebrated by New Orleanians around Carnival or Mardi Gras. And that's because it was introduced to the carnival clubs of New Orleans in the late 1800s. Specifically, a liquor importer bringing in that Ojen from Spain was showcasing it at the private club for the crew of Rex. The crew of Rex is known for having a wonderful parade during Mardi Gras, and the royalty and the leaders of Rex would toast with a Ojen cocktail at the start of Mardi Gras Day. If you are celebrating Carnival away from New Orleans, go ahead and make sure you poured yourself an Ojen cocktail. And cheers to you. Happy Mardi Gras.
This building has such a rich history. And when you think back, it was the second dome stadium ever constructed, the Astrodome being the first. It was constructed in the 70s, and it was an engineering marvel when it was built. It was billed by the founders of the Superdome, John McKithen and Dave Dixon, as the driver of the economy around this building, which it's been able to do. But I think over the years, this building has created its own character, its own personality, if you will, because of the great moments that have taken place here. We've had 7 Super Bowls, 6 Final Fours, Michael Jordan's last shot to beat Georgetown, North Carolina beating Georgetown in 1982, which launched his career. You know, Joe Montana throwing 5 touchdown passes in 1990 for the San Francisco 49ers against the Denver Broncos. Walter Payton and Refrigerator Perry ushering in a new era with the Chicago Bears in 1986 with the Super Bowl. The first Super Bowl played after 9/11 was played here between the Rams and the Patriots. And who could forget the NFC Championship game when the Saints beat the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl back in 2010. And then the homecoming game after Katrina, which was very memorable. So over the years, this place has seen so many great moments in sports and so many great moments in history. The other thing that's unique about this facility is that we have 166,000 square feet of floor space that is unobstructed by columns, which allows us to host the world's largest indoor Mardi Gras parade in Endymion, which has been here since 1981. It's amazing to see 10,000 people on the floor of the dome as floats that are over 300 feet long parade through the building for 2.5, 3 hours with music in the background, the world's largest party, and 20,000 people in the seats. It's an unbelievable scene if you haven't witnessed it. It's actually one of the great events that we do each year. As a float rider coming through the entrance of the dome and seeing that vast building with so many people inside yelling and screaming for beads is just overwhelming. It is almost spiritual, actually, when you think about it. And every year I come here and I watch and I think, this is so unique. This is so different. We are the only place in the world that gets to enjoy this kind of setting inside a building like this. And it makes it so special. And that's what makes New Orleans so unique. And that's what I think has contributed to the character and the personality of this building over the last 45 years.
There's a top 3 in there. There's, the Randazzo's is of course a staple. Hido's is phenomenal. And then Dong Feng's. Top 3, I don't even know the order. You could just interchange those and you could be happy with any of them.
There's no bad king cake, so they're all fantastic, right? Whatever is put in front of me is my favorite king cake.
I have to say my favorite was Dong Feng Bakery. That was my favorit by far.
My favorite king cake, without a doubt, is Randazzo's. I think they make the best. I like them plain. I don't want any of the cream that they put inside. I just like the plain king cake. Keep it simple.
I need to clear something up about New Orleans. While our culinary scene might be on fire, our food has never been about heat. It's always been about flavor. And this is how New Orleans does flavor. Are we clear? Crystal, how New Orleans does flavor.
Carnival very much has its own soundtrack. There are probably a half dozen songs that people outside of South Louisiana may not know at all, but if you play them for somebody from New Orleans, it immediately triggers the sort of Pavlovian response where they want to go to a parade and dance in the street and eat king cake. So one of those songs would certainly be Mardi Gras Mambo by Art Neville and the Hawkettes. Another one would be Carnival Time by Al Carnival Time Johnson. All those songs are great carnival songs. They put people in the mood. But two of the all-time classics were by Professor Longhair. Those are Go to the Mardi Gras and Big Chief. Those two songs are sort of at the heart of the carnival canon, and people outside of New Orleans may not know them, but every local here knows them, and every local responds in the same way. I mean, it signals that, yeah, it's carnival time. And on both of those songs, you just hear this very, very distinctive Professor Longhair piano style. It's kind of like rollicking, a little bit laid back, a bit of a syncopated beat, but it just strikes to the heart of everybody in New Orleans. Professor Longhair was arguably one of the most influential New Orleans musicians, and certainly one of the most influential piano players out of New Orleans. He influenced the entire piano tradition that came after him. Guys like Dr. John, Fats Domino, Art Neville, Alan Toussaint. All these guys cited Professor Longhair as a major influence on their sound and style. And no one can really replicate exactly what he did because he had such an idiosyncratic way of playing, but his records definitely had a major impact on all the New Orleans music that followed. Professor Longhair really didn't have any national hits at all. He had one song in the early 1950s called Bald Head that charted on the rhythm and blues charts nationally. And even though he recorded for Atlantic and a bunch of these other labels, he never broke through like a lot of the other New Orleans folks. So he was one of those guys that his influence was much bigger than his own career was. And after his first run of recordings in the 1950s, he disappeared from the music scene. I mean, he was working as a card dealer, he was sweeping floors at a record store. His career was basically over from the early 1960s until he was quote-unquote rediscovered in 1971 when he was invited to perform at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival that year. At the time, he lived in an apartment nearby. He walked to the gig, and he came out at the 71 festival, and everyone was just blown away by how he played piano, his singing style, which was utterly unique. He sings in a way that makes you think he knows something that you don't know, but that you would like to know. That relaunched his career. What made his style unique was that he wasn't a traditional rhythm and blues piano player or a blues player at all. He had all these other influences that very much were a byproduct of his upbringing in New Orleans, specifically the Caribbean influences. The rumba styles, the calypso rhythms, all that sort of stuff that he wove into his music. And there's a great story, which may or may not be true, that one of the pianos he learned to play on was missing some keys, so that affected the way he did chords and what have you on the piano. He distilled his own style, and you can recognize one of his records the moment you hear it. 40 years after his death, he remains a patron saint of New Orleans music in general, and certainly of Mardi Gras music, because of Go to the Mardi Gras and Big Chief. And so as long as there's a Mardi Gras, we're going to still be listening to the music of Professor Longhair.
Antoine's Restaurant is the oldest restaurant in New Orleans, and actually the oldest family-run restaurant in the United States. In 2021, we're excited to be in our 181st year.
We have an exciting menu for Mardi Gras. You don't see a lot of purple in cooking, but we've managed to put a little bit of that in there.
We are very COVID compliant, so we're very lucky. We have a very large restaurant. So even with small capacities, we can still have a lot of people here. I encourage people to come during the Mardi Gras season.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Dolio, Director of Aviation for the Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport. Although we're celebrating a bit differently this year, I'm so happy you all are joining us for this exciting showcase of the Mardi Gras traditions that make our city so unique. I'm here at our new airport terminal that opened just over a year ago. This new facility was inspired by that unique spirit of New Orleans, which can be felt through design features like this tree wall behind me, or hosts of local restaurants and shops, and especially through the live jazz performances at stages throughout the terminal. We hope to bring those musicians back to the airport as soon as it's safe to do so. But in the meantime, we're proud to present some special musical acts to those of you streaming from home. Locals and visitors alike will recognize our next performers as a prominent feature in many of the great carnival parades. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce to you the St. Augustine High School Marching 100 Drumline.
What does Mardi Gras mean to me? A lot. It's probably my favorite holiday. It's just so much fun. It's just fun for the sake of being fun. As soon as I saw it, you got to imagine if you grew up in the country, the first time you just hit with this bands and color and masks and horses, and it was just an overwhelming impression on me. It's first and foremost a family thing, and that's what people don't really get about it who are not from here. I actually like king cake. I always go and have I love a king cake and a coffee au lait. I mean, what the hell is wrong with that? To watch somebody experience their first Mardi Gras. I think that's my favorite thing, because I was harking back in my own life when I experienced my first Mardi Gras. And it really teaches us as New Orleanians that we should not take this for granted.
Happy Mardi Gras!
2020 was a tough year for Lake Charles, with 2 major hurricanes on top of the pandemic. But the spirit of resilience and community can always be seen when it comes Mardi Gras time. Lake Charles Mardi Gras combines traditions from across the state, including elements of both Cajun and New Orleans Mardi Gras. In fact, Lake Charles features the most crews and floats outside New Orleans, and culminates on Fat Tuesday with the Crew of Cruise Parade, with over 50 different crews.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines, fighting it.
Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Who that? I miss it. Who that, baby?
Lafayette may be home to more genres of music than just about anywhere, but our music is a manifestation of the region's creolized soul rather than ends in themselves. Lafayette's music started with the French language and evolved for movement. The influence of traditional songs sung by African slaves and gens de couleur libre, accompanied by the percussive rhythms of stomping feet and clapping hands, led to la-la music, fast-paced dance music featuring French lyrics. The accordion, brought to the bayous and prairies by German shopkeepers, projected a huge sound from a little box full of embellishments and spirit. Like our music, that accordion is sturdy, simple, and well-engineered. The fiddle, carried here initially by Europeans with deep roots in African American culture, not only collected and fused the melodies of the British Isles of Germany, France, and elsewhere, but it Americanized them by infusing them with the blues. A simple percussive device rounds out the sound. In Cajun music, the tifere or triangle. In Zydeco, the frottoir or rubboard. The purpose of both is urgency, immediacy, and movement. If there is an overarching sound in the area's music, its core is these instruments, the character of their interaction, and the shared language that allows musicians to communicate across barriers of age, race, and class. Lafayette is more than a birthplace, and it's not exactly a capital. It remains something untamed, a song of marshes and prairies and muddy roads that is still too busy being born.
Did you know that the Port of South Louisiana handles approximately $60 billion in trade annually? This is Paul Oakmeyer, Executive Director of the Port of South Louisiana, and I'm here to tell you that currently the Port of South Louisiana pumps $14.4 billion in revenue and $72.5 million in taxes to the regional economy. Port activities support over 30,000 direct jobs. That's 6 out of 10 jobs in the river region, contributing $1.8 billion to local household earnings. The Port of South Louisiana, the most important port you probably never heard of.
Though in the pandemic, the spirit of New Orleans never died. It continued to live throughout each and every one of my patients, through my coworkers, through myself.
One of the things I've seen as working as a physician at Auctioner is just how people came together to really unify and battle this pandemic. And so you saw primary care physicians going into the hospital to support. You saw people just supporting in any way that they can. And so I feel like when the going gets, rough, people will come together.
What I see in my patients is they are determined to get better. They see us and they ask us, how are you? How are you doing today? And it's like, no, how are you? Like, we want to know how you're doing and get you through this tough times. And we help them, we talk to them, and we tell them, just follow the steps. We know how to treat this and we're going about it. If you trust us, we're really gonna help you get through this.
Being the first physician vaccinated in Baton Rouge was really an honor. I thought it was a privilege to be able to be in the forefront and leading the way, setting the example for my colleagues, my patients, my family, and everyone else in the community.
My colleagues and I have bonded over the pandemic. We have seen each other cry, we've seen each other laugh. We've been each other's moral support for the past year, and I think it's definitely brought us a lot closer with each other. We have gained a new level of respect for each other. We have seen things and done things that we never imagined ourselves doing through healthcare. And we've definitely become more so family than colleagues at this point.
When Drew Blees recognized me publicly, it was just unbelievable. He is so well known here. He inspires so many people and he helps Louisiana at their darkest times and at their greatest times. And the fact that he recognized my effort, because I feel like I did nothing. This is just me, I go in, I help people, and that's just what I do. And for him to recognize that and to say, thank you, it's just, there's no words, because I was just so excited and happy. And I watch that video all the time. It gets me teary-eyed.
This is not over. We still have a long way to go. We still need a lot more people vaccinated. We still need to do what we have to do. Let's not get complacent. Let's not get COVID fatigued. It seems that some people are just tired of it. Yes, it's hard. Yes, we have some work to do still, and hopefully we can just press on and brighter days are ahead. I'm encouraged.
Chef Toya Bodie is a seasoned chef, cooking instructor, and mother of 4, born and raised right here in New Orleans. From sharing tips and tricks on her YouTube channel to showcasing her talents on national TV, authoring a cookbook, and launching her own brand that includes seasoning blends and kitchenware, Chef Toya is an unstoppable force with a broad range of culinary expertise. And luckily for us, she's here to share one of her own very favorite recipes. Please join us in welcoming the wonderful Chef Toya.
My name is Lauren. I'm with NOLA.com, and today we are with Chef Toya. What are we cooking today?
We're cooking chicken and andouille sausage gumbo just in time for the cold weather. We have everything prepped right now. We have the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit of the culinary world. That's the Trinity. That's onions, celery, and bell peppers. We have shredded rotisserie chicken. Then we have one of the New Orleanian favorites, and that's hot sausage meatballs. You throw that in the liquid and it's gonna taste like it's directly from somebody's kitchen in New Orleans. And we have the andouille sausage. So now it's roux time. Now it's just as simple as this.
You say it's simple.
I'm telling you, I mean it. Cut that heat on a little bit. And then you're gonna just add, I've seen people spoon the flour in. Look, we're just gonna add it in just like that. Just that simple, right? And now we're gonna mix it around.
Wow.
You'll notice the darker that it gets, because right now we're at the blind stage. The darker that it gets, that's when it starts to relax. The objective is basically making sure that nothing sticks to the bottom of the pan. Now we're at a beautiful color. This is a really good beginner's roux right here. This dark, heavy caramel, close to milk chocolate. You know, this is the good spot to be in, and you see how calm it looks. It's really aggressive at this point, so you have to be careful. So to cool the roux down so we can add it to the hot stock right here, we're gonna add this Trinity.
Wow.
And then once it's mixed like this, and you see how relaxed it looks, that's letting you know it's not sizzling, it's not doing anything. It's letting you know that, hey, I'm ready to be added to the stock.
So that was the hardest part.
The hardest part is
Okay.
making the roux. And at this point, you can look at it and gauge, do I prefer my gumbo to be thicker or do I prefer it to be thinner? You know, there is a sweet spot for everyone. You just have to figure out what your household likes. Now, if you look at it, look how it's rolling around. It's all beautiful and brown right now. All right, so now we're gonna add the heaping amount of garlic. Add that in. That going. Now we're gonna add the sausage. All right, so we're gonna take these tongs, and you don't want to dump them all in out of the regular sausage because this can actually stick together. So you wanna basically place them in. And then let this cook for about 5 minutes, and then you're gonna start adjusting as far as seasoning because you wanna give the sausage a chance to influence the liquid.
How long do you say that this should sit before you put the chicken in?
Really, if you're boiling it, if you're basically cooking it the way I'm cooking it right now, how quick it's rolling, I would say about five, maybe 10 minutes, depending, you know, on your stove and how you're doing it. Because you always want to taste as you go because you want to know what's happening. You want to be in control of the meal all the time. Now we're going to add this rotisserie seasoned chicken. I seasoned this and seared it with my chicken seasoning. And it really captures that rotisserie chicken flavor, the one you pick up from the supermarket that you love so much. My rule of thumb with gumbo, you want to get your gumbo to a place where it's more salty by itself because you have to add rice to it.
Oh, you're right.
You can taste that now and think,
really good.
Oh, I'm good. I don't need any more. You're right, you don't. But when you add rice, it's gonna snatch the life out of your meal.
Right.
Like literally, because it's so bland. So that's why the liquid is supposed to be more salty. Same method with beans and any other sauce you're putting over rice. So now that we're in a sweet spot, you see all of that stuff at the top? That's the oil.
Okay.
You want to render that off. You want the oil to influence the liquid, let it bond with it, and then you take out the excess. You see?
Okay.
You see what I'm doing?
Yes,
I'm dunking it just below so the oil can go in. We have the bowls here. You typically have like a plate underneath of the bowl, just so if you want to wedge bread or crackers or anything like that. We have the parsley right here as well. Typically, if you want to get a really good, you know, everybody's about Instagram and stuff these days. So if you want to get a really good bowl, make sure you swipe around the bottom of the pot. You see? And you see how it's full of flavor? You want to leave a good memory. All right, so that's how you make gumbo. Now you know, and you can pull that out your back pocket whenever people come over, or if you want to just impress your husband, have at it. And
Thanks
that's
so
it.
much. Thanks for coming and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Lauren, and thanks for joining us. This is Mardi Gras for all y'all.
Each day, New Orleans adds another chapter to this love story we all call home. And while each of our verses is our own, it's what we share in common that makes our culture so strong. Like the rhythmic roll of a boiling pot, the delicate gliss of ice dancing in a glass, the steady backbeat of a kitchen in motion, and the glorious sizzle when it all comes together. These are the ties that bind us, those moments that give life both meaning and joy. So to all you cooks, bakers, and backyard chefs, we say keep on keeping on. Your aromas, tastes, and family recipes keep this city vibrant and alive.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you in part by Crystal Hot Sauce, how New Orleans does flavor. The next crew truly embodies the celebratory spirit of Mardi Gras. Bacchus, named after the Greek god of wine and revelry, has always been known to break with tradition. In 1968, Bacchus forever transformed Carnival with their decision to parade on a Sunday night. Not only did their parade have bigger, more spectacular floats than anyone had ever seen, they later defied history once again by having a famous celebrity guest lead the parade. Here's more on the history of Bacchus.
So Bacchus started in 1968 as an idea to improve Mardi Gras, to add to it, and to bring the limelight and the focus of the world on the city of New Orleans.
Pip's father, Clark's grandfather, started a Mardi Gras ball back in the 40s for tourists visiting town, and it was the crew of Bacchus. And they staged Mardi Gras balls. And in 1968, when they went to form the Bacchus Parade, that's where they get the name from.
Well, we broke the mold. The old line crews were very traditional, and there's a place for that, but we broke the mold in that we have these larger floats with animation on them. We invited groups that previously had not been allowed to participate in Carnival cruise. We opened it up to everybody at the time frame, so it was very democratic. If you had the dues, you were welcome to join the crew of Bacchus. So we changed also the floats. Before were very small. In fact, when Bacchus first paraded, it went through the French Quarter. We had to buy jacks to make the turn at Orleans and Royal Street to make sure we can make that turn there, because the older 19th century floats were much smaller.
We have some beautiful signature floats that really tell the story of Bacchus, from the Bacca Wappa to the Bacca Gator. I think my favorite, though, is the Bacchosaurus. He's just such a large, gentle giant. I think he's perfect float for our crew.
The Bacca Gator changed Mardi Gras. There was never a multi-tandem float until the Bacca Gator. And Augie Perez was sitting on an airplane one day and looked out and saw where the luggage train, and it had a tractor, but the train moved like a snake, and the carts just came right behind it. And it's like, if they can do that, then we can make a float like that. And the Bacca Gator is the first tandem float in Mardi Gras, and everything you see today follows that same plan to make sure that it can turn down the streets and turn into buildings and that sort of thing.
Every year we try to do something, though, very special, depending on the theme. When we had the Wild West last year, we had cowboy hats that we threw off of the floats to the people. When the theme was children's stories, we did chalk for them to paint the sidewalks with. And we always try tying it on into the theme, so there's always something different.
For the past few years, I've been thinking of this idea of developing an app where we could catch throws off of a float. And so this year we developed an app where you can hold your phone up to the float, and as it goes by, the float will transmit to your phone to throw beads to you. And some of those beads that you catch, you will be able to come to the den here and redeem them for the actual item. Now, we don't have a parade this year, so we've decided to kind of modify our app slightly, and instead of you seeing the floats through the app, we're going to play a video during the parade time.
I want Mardi Gras to bring joy back to people. Just like when Mardi Gras after Katrina. Katrina was a complete devastation of our city, but we came back. And COVID has been a devastation to our country and our world, and I want Mardi Gras to be a part to bring joy and happiness back to our people.
Iberia Bank and First Horizon are now one company. While we have grown, our strategy remains the same: to provide personalized financial solutions from a team that you know and trust, while continuing to strengthen our community. We're looking forward to being better together.
There's a joy of life you'll find only in Louisiana. A spirit of celebration that takes your senses places they've never been before. Where expressions of joy are an art form and our way of life. Where an abundance of good food, good times, and great music means there's more than enough to go around. Come one, come y'all. Come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm John Goodman, inviting you to visit louisianatravel.com and plan your getaway today.
Named after the legendary Queen of Egypt, this cruise started out on the West Bank before moving the parade east and becoming the first all-female organization on the Uptown route. In addition to their signature throws of handmade fans, these queens are known for kicking off the peak of Carnival season on the first Friday in the weeks leading up to Mardi Gras. Don't go anywhere just yet. We've got more on this captivating crew next.
Since I was a little girl, it was all about Mardi Gras. And when I was around 10 years old, my family started the crew of Cleopatra. Prior to that, we would go to parades every night, sometimes 2 parades a night.
Mardi Gras is a great celebration for New Orleans. Our crew first got together in 1972. And it all began because they didn't have a women's organization on the West Bank. So the 2 couples got together, went to Mr. Blaine Kern's office and said, hey, how do we start a parade? And then they started recruiting businesswomen on the West Bank and politician wives. And then they asked them to recruit members, and it all started that way.
And the first crew, Cleopatra, was about 250 ladies, and now we ride with around 1,500 ladies. I think what's unique about Cleopatra is that it's a sense of family. From the moment I walked into my very first event several years ago, I felt accepted. And Cleopatra is run by a family, number one. They make you feel like you're part of their family from the second you walk into the door.
Cleopatra is the Queen of the Nile, is the Egyptian Queen of the Nile. And she exemplifies beauty and charm and power and femininity. And it's just so appropriate. It's a wonderful name.
We've never had a king. The crew of Cleopatra has only had queens. We do not have celebrities. We choose our queen from a barrel, a golden barrel. And so basically, anyone who has ridden over 1 year is able to put their name in to become our queen. So I think that's pretty unique. It really gives everyone a chance to become our queen.
When I was named queen, I was shocked. I was floored. I was ecstatic, really happy, even though it's a very strange year and we're going to be waiting another year to actually ride down the avenue. It's still an honor, a very humbling honor to represent all the wonderful ladies of the crew and all of the great friends and family that are associated with it.
The crew of Cleopatra has 30 floats. Some have tandems, and this year we're having a new signature float in honor of my mother, Tootie. It's a 3-part tandem float that holds 160 ladies. So we're really excited about doing that in honor of our mother who passed away in July. Another unique float in our parade is our Queen's Barge. Mr. Blaine Kern and my dad were very close friends, and we ordered our royal barge from Spain, and it came down the river in parts and put together in his den. So I think that's pretty unique as well. Well, one of our main signature throws is our acrylic cups. And the women decorate Mardi Gras cups, their float theme cups, or the entire parade float theme and cups. And the audience is really, really excited about it.
Cleopatra is a great group of women who want to get together, they want to have fun, they want to meet other women and develop friendships. And when I speak to the members, they tell me, you know what, Cleopatra is a great fit.
Hi everyone, this is Director of Bands Barry Spanier, thanking you for your support of our Tulane students. They are amongst the most dedicated and motivated people I know. They carry on the spirit of Tulane and New Orleans, and during Mardi Gras is the time when they and the TUMB shine the brightest. You can watch the TUMB perform online during this upcoming virtual Mardi Gras season. The TUMB is supported by our community, and your participation is vital. Please visit us at tulaneband.org/donate to find out how you can contribute to our Mardi Gras Wave Starter campaign. Funds raised will be used for instruments and equipment that help our students excel now and into the future. Thank you, happy Mardi Gras, and roll wave.
It's been said that New Orleans is like nowhere else in the world. And while there are countless explanations as to why this is true, one that stands out is the city's stunning architecture. Influenced by a variety of cultures and moments in history, architectural styles include everything from Creole cottages to European-inspired townhouses, all reflecting the diverse communities that help form this city's unique identity.
Hi, I'm Danielle Del Sol, Executive Director of the Preservation Resource Center of New Orleans. I'm in Jackson Square, the most famous spot in New Orleans, filled with architecture that defines the history of our 300-year-old city. Come with me to explore New Orleans' architectural types, all types and styles, including famous buildings you might see on the traditional Mardi Gras routes. We'll start here, downtown, where the Crew de Vue kicks off the Mardi Gras season every year with its first parade. The Vue Carré is the oldest neighborhood in our 300-year-old city. This treasured neighborhood is protected by the Vue Carré Commission, a city agency empowered by the Louisiana Constitution to preserve the corridor's tout ensemble, a concept that includes the neighborhood's rich architectural heritage, physical environment, and defining character, to ensure that it will be here for future generations to enjoy. Built between 1795 and 1799 in the Spanish colonial style, the Cabildo was the site where the 1803 Louisiana Territory was officially transferred to the United States after the signing of the Louisiana Purchase in Paris. Designed in 1791 to match the Cabildo, the presbytere served as a courthouse and for commercial uses. Both the Cabildo and presbytere are part of the Louisiana State Museum today. On both sides of Jackson Square are the world-famous Pontalba buildings. Built from 1849 to 1851 for the Baroness Pontalba, they are known for their decorative ironwork galleries and balconies. If you were watching the Crew de Vue parade in the quarter, you might notice another typical New Orleans building type, the Creole cottage. Let's look inside one that was restored by architect Frank Masson and his wife, architectural historian Anne Masson. This gorgeous home was built in 1805 by a free man of color, Jean-Louis Doliol. It retains its traditional layout, which for a Creole cottage is 4 rooms, arranged symmetrically, with a cabinet behind. A large covered porch that would have room for storage and a stairway to an attic sleeping area. Creole cottages that you see today are likely amongst some of the oldest homes in the city. Let's head over to Treme, where during a normal carnival season you might catch some of the city's famous Mardi Gras Indians. This historic neighborhood is one of the oldest African-American neighborhoods in the nation, and it's filled with Creole cottages as well as shotgun houses. The shotgun house is one of New Orleans' best-known vernacular types. They began to appear in the 1830s and even today are one of the most popular house type in New Orleans. The rooms in a shotgun are lined up linearly, one after another, and it is said that the term shotgun house was coined because of the idea that you could fire a shotgun through the front door and the pellets would pass through each room and straight out of the back door without hitting a wall. There are many variations of shotguns: singles, doubles, which are dual residences, camelbacks, shotguns with side hall porches, and more. Anyone who comes to Mardi Gras will spend some time on the St. Charles Avenue Parade Route, a great place to view some of New Orleans' grandest buildings. Stately Greek Revival building was designed by James Gallier Sr. It served as City Hall until 1958. Today, it is an event venue owned by the City of New Orleans. All parades on the St. Charles Avenue route pass in front of Gallier Hall, including Zulu and Rex. Heading uptown on St. Charles Avenue, You'll see many famous mansions along this gorgeous tree-lined avenue. Most of the homes here were built in the late 19th and early 20th centuries and come in a variety of architectural styles, from Queen Anne to Richardsonian Romanesque. One of New Orleans' biggest and most glitzy parades is put on by the Crew of Endymion, which rolls in Mid-City. Mid-City boasts an impressive collection of bungalows, many in the arts and crafts style, as well as ones with Spanish Revival and Mediterranean Revival details, including terracotta tiles, stucco walls, and Solomonic columns. While New Orleans is best known for its distinct Caribbean meets classical architecture, did you know the city also was a hotspot for modernism in the mid-20th century? The Crescent City has an incredible collection of mid-century modern buildings. The most famous, of course, is the Superdome, which was designed by the modernist architecture firm of Curtis & Davis. The Superdome's architects, Curtis & Davis, also designed many other noteworthy buildings in New Orleans, including the Mid-City Library branch. I hope you've enjoyed this brief tour of New Orleans' historic architectural types and styles. To find out more about our city's historic buildings and neighborhoods, visit the Preservation Resource Center at prcno.org.
Well, New Orleans is built to host meetings, events, and special events. And the biggest part of that are our people. Our people are the reason why we're known for our authentic culture. It bleeds into our food, our music, our architecture. And so when you come to New Orleans, you're not just going to get a PowerPoint, you're going to have a culture and experience like you've had nowhere else in the country.
Here at the Convention Center, we have tremendous amount of entertainment options, tremendous amount of wonderful world-class restaurants, opportunities for people to gather together. So the opportunity to interact and to be entertained and entertain is greater here than most any place in the world. You know, I've been in this industry for many years, and the purpose to come together for conventions is really to talk about new products and about education and continuing education. So I would say the medical conferences are the ones that are most fascinating.
Well, we've also had great success in partnering with our governor and with the legislature here in Louisiana to pass some legislation to make sure that companies, that corporations, that meeting planners, and that those who are planning events here in Louisiana know that they can safely do that.
You know, before the pandemic, we were on a really aggressive renovation and expansion plan, and it started with the airport terminal at Louis Armstrong. It is beautiful, and so many people haven't had a chance to experience that. And then as you come into the city, you know, we're at the Convention Center now, and behind us is the new pedestrian park. It's beautiful, it's outdoor space, which is so important now, and you can host events and concerts and all kinds of outdoor things here. And so from our people to our culture to our food and music and the continuous need to improve, I think New Orleans is really well set to host meetings and events.
Natchitoches, Louisiana's oldest city, is no slouch when it comes to Mardi Gras. While Natchitoches may be best known for its Christmas festival, Mardi Gras in Natchitoches means the crew of Dionysus. Every year, they strive to give their hometown the biggest, brightest party of the year to celebrate life.
Most carnival traditions have been postponed until next year, but some local artists aren't letting these cancellations rain on anyone's parade. In fact, they found a way to satisfy a citywide longing while staying 6 feet apart. Nicknamed Mardi Gras, this project has turned lawns, porches, and balconies into stationary floats that practically resemble the real thing. Spectators can find a map detailing each location on NOLA.com and organize their own tour of these decorated homes for a carnival experience the whole family can enjoy.
COVID-19 took the parades off our streets in 2021, so instead, our streets became the parades. Float houses are the Crescent City's newest carnival custom. From Algiers to Metairie to Bywater, lavishly, lovingly, laughingly decorated houses are popping up on every street, the way plastic babies pop up in every king cake. Never Say Die New Orleanians have taken their holiday back by inventing a whole new way of celebrating. You can think of the float house custom as costuming for architecture. For 2 centuries, costumed New Orleanians have poured into the streets on Mardi Gras morning to see and be seen. Some revelers wear fabulous, professionally made outfits. Some while away the winter nights producing homemade masterpieces. Carnival costumes embody symbolism, satire, or just plain silliness. At the center of the float house phenomenon is Megan Boudreau, an insurance claims adjuster who didn't want to sit out Carnival 2021. Boudreau hatched a simple plan to decorate her front porch as if it were a float. On Mardi Gras morning, she planned to toss trinkets to passers-by. Maybe, she thought, some of her neighbors would like to join her in the socially distanced stationary parade. When she posted her crew of house floats idea on Facebook, it blew up. In no time, hundreds, then thousands of New Orleanians bought into Boudreau's vision. All hail the Admiral.
Want to ride in a Carnival parade in 2022? Visit www.nola.com/Win Carnival 2022 for more information and to enter.
The mission of Save Our Cemeteries is a very specific one that's focused on the preservation and restoration of our historic cemeteries. It was founded in 1974 by Mary Lou Kristovich and other interested parties. This was in response to an outcry against a proposal to destroy or tear down the historic wall vaults around St. Louis No. 2.
And as we're walking, we can see some tombs that are in poor condition. This cemetery dates to 1789. A lot of the original owners and the descendants of the original owners are no longer with us. So what we end up with is a lot of tombs that are in a state of disrepair because either the family has died off or moved away or is just unaware that their family had property within the cemetery. So through our Abandoned Tomb Initiative and partnering with Save Our Cemeteries, we're able to address some of that work. So this is the Laveau and Glapion family tomb. This was restored a few years ago in partnership with Save Our Cemeteries. Save Our Cemeteries recently funded the restoration of this
Yes,
tomb.
indeed, that's very true. We were fortunate to get a grant to focus on this tomb to be sure that we can get the exact duplication of what the tomb was in its original style and using the building techniques and the materials that are authentic to the time to create what's here. First of all, you can become a member. A sustaining member is a great way to stay in touch with us and know what we're doing. You also can make donations. If you're in New Orleans, you can participate in one of our specially crafted walking tours of our historic cemeteries.
Well, thank you so much for coming out today and helping us to present the needs of the cemetery as well as the history.
Yeah, and I really appreciate being with you. I've learned a great deal today, and it's always wonderful to be in this cemetery. It's just beautiful.
I grew up with my grandmother 2 blocks away, and she showed us a lot of culture. I started to be a baby doll before Katrina because I wanted my grandmother to see me as a baby doll. She was a baby doll called the Gold Digger Baby Doll, and she started in the 1920s. Louis Armstrong, I do know that he came to my grandmother's house, and he wanted the baby dolls to come and travel with him. So like I said, my family had been from the baby dolls to the Indians, to the Second Line Club. I designed all the, it's quite a while, okay? This one I was trying to look for this one here to go with my red one, right here. Butterfly Jan and my butterfly. Uncle Lionel. This here goes with this umbrella too. Mardi Gras. And we are the Trim Me Baby Dolls. Right here. We are the Trim, yeah, you should be holding yours. These are the Trim Me Baby Dolls. As me, as an elder baby doll, we are trying to make the younger baby dolls keep in our culture. When we stop, we want them, we encourage them to come out. And that's how we do it with the younger baby dolls. Okay, take that one off too, because you got them on the wrong feet. Come on, let's do this one here. I am the next generation, passing it down to this next generations. So I feel like the baby dolls came to be a culture like the Indians. You got to get this umbrella. Yeah, there you go. From the new baby dolls coming into being our culture, and then for us to march on Mardi Gras Day. You know, it's a blessing for us to come out Mardi Gras Day. When you come to New Orleans, you come to New Orleans on Mardi Gras, you see the Indians, the parades. They got a social and pleasure club. You have the baby dolls. And we're keeping the culture going. So if we would stop doing this, you wouldn't have nothing to come to New Orleans for. You wouldn't have nothing to see. So how would you visit New Orleans?
Hey Mardi Gras fans, feeling thirsty? Smoothie King is offering free delivery through February 20th, 21. To order, visit smoothieking.com/order.
What sort of impact does Tulane have? We were founded as an outward-looking university in the 1800s to deal with a pandemic, and we're always focused on how we can change the world. That means both in New Orleans and the world at large. For us in New Orleans, the research we're working on in terms of environmental issues, infectious diseases, has a huge impact. We're also the largest employer in New Orleans. We employ the New Orleans community as part of our educational program. But our issues are both local and global. The things we focus on not only will transform this region, but the world in general. You can see that our students returned in record numbers to become part of this institution. But forward-looking, the research that we're doing now in infectious diseases is critical to fighting this pandemic. For Tulane University to, in a sense, resume operations is important to our student body, but it's important to the world. It's also important that as we bring everyone back, we protect their health and safety. And no university in the country has been more focused on testing and protecting our community as part of resuming academic operations at Tulane.
For years, New Orleans has been universally recognized as the birthplace of jazz. And sure enough, the city has produced some of the greatest jazz musicians in history. Buddy Bolden, Louis Armstrong, Ellis Marsalis, Trombone Shorty. The list could go on forever.
I was very, very fortunate to grow up in a musical family. I grew up in a Lasty family, and my uncles were all musicians. Melvin Lasty played the trumpet, David Lasty played the saxophone, Walter Lasty played the drums. And my grandfather, his name was Frank Lasty, and he played the drums. He was in a Waves home with Louis Armstrong in 1913, back in the Waves home. Growing up in that family, I was always surrounded by music, and music was always a part of me and part of my growing up. Jesse Hill was my uncle, who made Ooh Poopa Doo. He's Trombone Shorty's grandfather. You know, New Orleans is the bedrock of jazz music for well over a century now. You know, with the drums being invented here and improvisation getting started from people like Louis Armstrong and Jelly Roll Morton and Sidney Bechet.
Louis Armstrong is possibly the most important musical figure in American history. All music changes from what Louis Armstrong did. Between his trumpet stylings, his composing, his singing, his band leading, once Louis Armstrong does it, jazz changes irrevocably and for the better. Professor Longhair liked Louis Armstrong, but on a smaller level. His piano playing changed the way people played piano in New Orleans, in a certain way people played rock and roll. There's a Caribbean influence to it. And also, he's the guy who did Tipitinas. He's the guy who did Mardi Gras in New Orleans. And these are, especially in New Orleans, you can't make it through your life. You can't make it through 2 days here, especially this time of year, without hearing those tunes and realizing how great they are.
All of these performers were on international stage, but especially Dr. John, who was super big in the 70s and 80s, and he was just a beloved New Orleans musician. Of course, in his later years, he ended up spending a lot of his time here.
And I've been very, very fortunate to be able to connect and to plug into each, to a lot of these different artists who actually made the music what it is. Even the Neville brothers. I work with the Neville brothers. Work with Dr. John. I played with Dr. John. I think I may be on Dr. John his last record.
King Oliver is important. He's most known because he mentored Louis Armstrong, but he is important in his own right in that he's the first person to really popularize mutes and that kind of way of making a trumpet with a mute have different kinds of tones and timbre, so it sounds like it's talking or it sounds like a dog or a cat or those kinds of things.
And jazz is an art form that is continually evolving. The museum is here to help support that, be a place to perform, a chance to look at exhibits, look at the collection, artifacts and items from many of the greats, from Professor Longhair, Al Carnival, Tom Johnson, the Nevilles, all of whom created the musical soundtrack that we listen to for Mardi Gras, and those are here in this building.
I need to clear something up about New Orleans. While our culinary scene might be on fire, our food has never been about heat. It's always been about flavor. And this is how New Orleans does flavor. Are we clear? Crystal, how New Orleans does flavor.
Have you tasted Lafayette, home to the very best Cajun and Creole and everything that's hot? And by hot, we mean cool in cuisine. The gateway to world-famous Louisiana seafood, caught fresh daily in the Gulf of Mexico, and home to amazing chefs serving up delectable dishes daily. You'll find it all here. Cajun, Creole, acclaimed, undiscovered, spicy, delicate, white linen, paper napkin. Get to Lafayette and taste what you've been missing.
Orleans Parish isn't the only place where you can catch beads, live music, and amazing Mardi Gras parades. For years, spectators have made their way to Jefferson Parish for some good old-fashioned carnival fun, plus a 3-day family gras weekend that caters to kids while pleasing parents, too.
The Crew of Argus started back in 1972. A group of businessmen here in Jefferson Parish got together and thought it was time that Jefferson Parish, and specifically Metairie, had its own Mardi Gras. So they formed the Crew of Argus in 1972 and rolled for the first time in 1974 with over 600 riders. And it was a huge success. It was very popular on the street. Folks were out to see the parade, and it was the beginning of a great thing.
Well, the Crew of Argus is named after Greek mythology. Argus was the god of 100 eyes, and our leaders thought that Argus would be a great title to be the eyes over Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras is not brought to you by corporations or anybody just doing their job. Mardi Gras is brought to you by the love of the people for this tradition. And you get, on that special day, you get to see the product of their work and their passion into the parade, whether it's the float decorations, a costume, somebody playing a band, the dancing, all of those special things really round out the parade.
And Argus is one of the only crews that allows everybody in the family to ride. Moms, dad, kids, we truly are a family affair.
In Jefferson Parish, there's something special about being able to enjoy it together with all the kids, grandparents, everyone along the route together.
So like all the crews, we have your normal throws, beads, doubloons, cups. But one thing that is unique about Argus is the amount of families on the route. And what do kids love most? Plush. Stuffed animals. So this is our mascot, and his name is Gus.
We also recently changed the route. We thought, you know what? Little kids go to bed early. Let's start the parade in the neighborhood where they can see it, they can enjoy it, they head to bed, and then it moves into our more commercial corridor. We have something called Family Gras, and it's 3 days of music. What we decided to do 2 years ago was have the parade roll through the Family Gras Festival grounds. So you're standing there watching a concert, and then at the end of the night, the parade literally comes through where you've been watching your music. It's just the best of both worlds, so that's been a great change too.
But Argus, is a parade. And so one of the things that we wanted to do, other than just donate things, was how to give people access to the parade. So we several years ago designed a totally handicap accessible float and invited wounded warriors to ride. We also have a float been donated by the Patrick Taylor Foundation that puts decorated soldiers on every year. Everybody in this community ought to have the right and access to a parade, and that's what Argus is proud to provide.
I wasn't born here and I wasn't raised here. I didn't go to high school here, and yet, man, New Orleans is my hometown. I love New Orleans. I love the people, love everything about it. I'll be here for the rest of my life. You really don't understand it until you get here. And I think, when I describe it to my friends, I kind of describe it like the largest block party on earth, and everyone's invited. There's no bad king cake, so they're all fantastic, right? Whatever is put in front of me is my favorite king cake. I like the ones that my friends traditionally ride in. I wouldn't say that there's a single one that I'm a particular fan of, because I love them all. I just remember every parade just being not just a celebration of Mardi Gras in New Orleans, but a celebration of that Super Bowl victory and what it meant to our city and our state and all of our fans.
Kids collecting scrap, women building bombers, America in wartime. In the wake of Japan's attack, American soldiers marched into battle while citizens rallied on the home front. They built an arsenal of democracy in ration lines and victory gardens and factories across the United States. Experience how the home front supported the front lines and helped win the war at the Arsenal of Democracy at the National World War II Museum.
On the eve of Mardi Gras Day, commonly known as Lundi Gras, the crew of Orpheus parades through the city with some of the most beautiful floats in all of Carnival. A super crew named for the musical legend and poet of Greek mythology, Orpheus keeps crowds wanting more with their celebrity monarchs, special throws, and elaborate floats that glow in the dark and take your breath away. Fan favorites include the Smoky Mary, a 6-unit float made to look like a steam locomotive, and the massive Orpheus Leviathan, the first ever float to use extensive fiber optic lighting. Stick around for more on the history of Orpheus.
Well, we started in 1993. Harry Connick and I talk from time to time, and he called me one day around lunchtime, and he said, "Sonny, why don't we think about starting a crew, a parade, on the Monday night before Mardi Gras, and a parade that just includes everyone, men, women, people of all goodwill." And I said, "Harry, do you realize the undertaking this would be?" And he said, "Yes, I do." He said, "But I know we could do it together."
Orpheus was basically the god of music, so to speak. He played the lyre beautifully enough to be able to move trees. But with Harry Connick having been the inspiration behind it, he wanted, first of all, include everybody. No exclusions, anybody could ride. And he wanted to celebrate New Orleans and its music, keep people in town for, a few extra days, and so that's where the inspiration came.
I think at its core, Mardi Gras means family, it means culture, it means tradition. Specifically with Orpheus, I think it means camaraderie and just coming together to celebrate what has been such an amazing piece of this incredible city for so many years. We were officially formed or founded in 1993, and we first rolled in 1994.
We have upwards of 35 floats in our parade. The important ones, the key ones, are Leviathan, which is a grand sea dragon, which is a beautiful 3-part float with moving head and moving tails, smoke coming out its mouth. It's really quite an impressive sight as it turns a corner during the night, all lit up. My favorite, Smoky Mary. It's a beautiful train celebrating the actual Smoky Mary that used to ride out of New Orleans. Smoky Mary is 8 cars long. The lighting on it is spectacular. Smoke comes out the stack. It has a train whistle, and it is also, it's got to be the most impressive float.
We assist or contribute to a lot of charities and foundations throughout the year. Some of the more notable may be Rodrigue Foundation, Yaya, Crews for Carnival's First Responders, which we were one of the founding crews on, as well as we also assist with various high schools and elementary schools by donating things such as ball tickets and rides in our future parades.
Our most iconic signature throw is our doubloons. Our doubloons, sometimes I jokingly call them coasters because they're so large. And we have two. We have the large silver one, which denotes the theme of the parade of the year. And then we have one that looks like a record, shaped like a record. It's gold, and it always has our music legend on it. Our Orpheus monarchs are varied. We've had Whoopi Goldberg, Stevie Wonder, Glenn Close. What else is unique about Orpheus monarchs is that we usually have 2 to 3 every year. And the most famous monarch that we had is Harry Connick Jr.
The importance of Mardi Gras in the city, and you know, we talk about it as an economic driver, which it is. But the people that do this don't do it for the economy. They do it for joy that they bring to people. I mean, just watching, whether it's a little girl or a man or your grandfather out there catching these throws and how excited they are to catch these beads, just to see you, to the riders and watching how much fun they have, just being able to give that joy. I mean, we all have tough times in our lives, especially right now, and to be able to go out there and mix and mingle with everybody. I mean, you're not standing in a crowd of all the same people. You're a mixed crowd, and that's what it's really all about, is being able to get out there, enjoy those friendships, make new friends. That's what it's about. It's that joy, sharing and being part of an entire community.
Here at the New Orleans airport, we're working on measures to keep guests, crews, and employees healthy and safe. Some are simple, like urging everyone to wear a mask.
That's the wrong kind of mask, honey.
And some are a little bigger, like the installment of plexiglass barriers in shared spaces.
You already know.
These are just a couple of ways MSY is travel ready, and we're looking forward to seeing you whenever you are.
Wow, what an unforgettable experience this has been. We got to witness the best of Mardi Gras with local superstars, crew captains, neighborhood heroes, resident historians, and so many more. Now, although we didn't get to let loose and live it up in the traditional sense, we still found a way to come together and honor the joys of life, New Orleans style. We want to thank everybody who participated in this one-of-a-kind carnival, but most of all, we want to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in and celebrating with us. We truly could not have done it without you. So if you enjoyed yourself these past few nights, please consider this. Consider coming to New Orleans, spending Mardi Gras with us next year in 2022. We promise you won't want to miss the greatest show on earth ever again. Thank y'all, and happy Mardi Gras.
Tonight's show is made possible through the generous support of our sponsors.
Somebody save your soul, 'cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control. You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want the good life every good night, you're a hot one to hold. 'Cause you don't even know. I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. attention, throw your western vest on